And welcome to Carboy College on the Brew Share. In this segment, we're going to talk about tools needed for bottling. The first tool we're going to need is a 6.5 gallon bottling bucket to move our beer into prior to bottling. We're going to attach at the bottom of that bottling bucket a valve. And this valve, we're going to be attached a 5/16 inch siphoning tube and a bottle filler. Of course, before putting that into the bottle, we're going to need to use a racking cane to place into the bucket, and an auto siphon to siphon off our beer. The next thing we're going to need is some PBW to clean our tools, and Star Sand to sanitize it. Of course, bottles, a hydrometer, a bottle capper, and bottle caps. A bottle, we're going to have to first sanitize all of our equipment. And before sanitizing, we're going to have to make sure it's clean and there's no dirt on there. If it's not completely clean, it's not going to be completely sanitized. What I've done is I've added the valve to my bottling bucket, and I'm going to take 1 to 2 ounces of PBW, and I'm going to put that into the bottling bucket. And then after putting that in the bottling bucket, I'm going to fill it with some warm water. Approximately 2 gallons of warm water. And once that's filled, we're going to come back and I'll show you how to scrub. So for today's purposes, I'm going to need 3 gallons of cleaning solution, and so I've used 3 ounces of PBW. I'm going to take a white cloth right here, and I'm going to, I've mixed it up, and I'm going to just kind of scrub the inside of this, just make sure that I can get some of the dirt out. Once I've gone ahead and made sure all that dirt is scrubbed out, I'm going to go ahead and clean my siphon tube. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my racking cane. And I'm going to do this by just connecting it all together. And I'm going to clean my auto siphon. I'm just going to pump that cleaning solution through my system right here. So to clean the bottles, I've moved my bottling bucket up onto the counter outside the kink, but I've left the valve here inside the sink, pointing into the sink. I've put a stopper inside the sink to catch the extra cleaning solution. I'm going to be using a variety of bottles, shorter bottles, regular bottles, and of course Grolsch bottles. Grolsch bottles are easy to use because they hold a lot more, so you use a lot less bottles, and it's easier capping mechanism. I'm going to go ahead and fill each bottle through this valve with the cleaning solution that's in the bucket. I'm not going to fill the bottle completely. I'm just going to put a bit of cleaning solution in there. And then I'm going to close up the top of the bottle. And then go ahead and shake it up.
I wasn't thinking how this would come across on the video.
There. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour out that cleaning solution. After I'm done pouring out that cleaning solution, I'm going to go ahead and rinse the bottles out. You don't rinse out the bottles after using Star Sand, but you do use them after using the PBW. Less, you don't want the PBW staying in there. Once it's rinsed off, you can go ahead and check in the bottle. See if there's any sediment or anything left in there. Just because there's nothing you see in there doesn't mean it's not clean. After we have thoroughly cleaned all of our equipment with PBW, soaked it and rinsed it out, we're going to go ahead and add 1 ounce of Star Sand to our bottling bucket. And 1 ounce is enough for 5 gallons of cold water. More Star Sand does not mean more more sanitation. You're just going to be wasting star sand if you go ahead and put any more than 1 ounce for 5 gallons. Once we got this filled up, we'll return. So one mistake that I made was putting the star sand in the bucket before putting the water in the bucket. Normally you're supposed to put the 5 gallons of cold water in the bucket and then pour the star sand in and gently mix it to stir it around. That's okay. This is not going to cause a problem. We just had to wait some time, wait for the foam to build down so we can put some more water in there and have the full solution cover the rest of the bucket. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and fill each of our bottles with some of this solution. Since we have 5 gallons in the bucket and we're going to be brewing 5 gallons, this is a good way to measure out how much beer we're going to have and how many bottles we're going to need. Again, just double checking. Once each bottle is filled, we can go ahead and stop it, put the cap on, and set the bottle aside. After we're done soaking it with the star sand solution, we're going to pour it out of all the bottles. Do not rinse the bottles. Next, we're going to take the bucket here, and we're going to pour out the last bits of star sand that's in there. I'm keeping my siphon tube and my siphon, my auto siphon in there, and my racking cane. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to gently set this on the bottom. Sometimes these ale pails, they have these extend a little bit lower, so I can turn this to the side and make sure that that doesn't touch the ground. I'm going to move my siphon cane up here. I'm going to set that into my brew for now. And I'm going to set this down into my bucket. Once we have that all set, we're going to go ahead and get ready the priming sugar. We're going to bring 16 ounces of water to a boil. I use filtered water. And into that, once it's into a boil, we're going to put 5 ounces of corn sugar. We're going to slowly dissolve that into the water. As you see, it's a milky white right now. And we're going to continue to stir that until it turns clear. As you can see, it's after about 7 minutes, it dissolves completely into the water and the water becomes clear. We're going to take the water over to our bucket here. And we're going to pour it into our bucket. After it's in the bucket, we're going to go ahead and start pumping our siphon. We're going to slowly and gently start pumping our beer into our priming bucket. You pour the priming solution into your bottling bucket and then you siphon your beer into the bucket. This allows the priming sugar to mix and distribute evenly in your beer, and you will end up with a consistent carbonation level with all your bottles. So once we've filled up our bottling bucket, we're going to move the bottling bucket up to a higher surface. I'm going to take the tubing and disconnect the tubing from the siphon tube and connect it to our spigot here. We're going to turn the spigot down, and we're going to connect the other end of the siphon tube to our bottler. We're going to go ahead and turn on our spigot, and we're going to let some gravity do its work. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a bottle. We're going to put our spigot upside down, and we're going to actually let a little bit of this out first onto a sanitized plate. And then we're going to put it in the bottle, and we're going to fill it up. We're going to wait until it's filled up to just about to the top. just like so. And we're going to do it with our Grolsch bottles. Great thing with the Grolsch bottle is as soon as it's filled, we can just go ahead right away and cap it. Take it out, move the cap on up, seat the cap, put it in a dark place, and in 2 weeks you should have nicely carbonated beer. To bottle your smaller bottles using the bottle caps, what we do is we keep the bottle caps in the sanitized solution. We're going to take that bottle cap out, put each one on each of our bottles, and using this handheld bottle capper, we are going to push down with both hands, and voila. Thank you very much for reading the Brew Share and logging into carboycollege.com. We'll see you next time for another great lesson.